Hey guys, so it's time for another Donkey Kong discussion. Donkey Kong has been making quite the comeback recently. We got the first new mainline game in over a decade, which was also the first new 3D platformer in 25 years, and it's absolutely incredible, one of my favorite games of all time. And DK also got a new design alongside that. Technically it debuted in the Mario movie, and then appeared in Mario Kart World, but it was designed for Bonanza, so I kind of attribute that design with Bonanza. And he also got a theme park, and now a theme on Nintendo Today. DK is basically becoming one of Nintendo's major franchises again, which is really refreshing and nice to see. And this comeback also included the return of DK's beloved main foe, King K. Rool. His grand return in Bonanza was absolutely incredible, and it was basically the perfect way of handling it. Like, they had a full-on sequence where he completely takes over New Donk City. There's even signs where it says King K. Rool is back. Like, they knew. They knew that we wanted K. Rool to return. We're also seeing that King K. Rool is here to stay, since him and the Kremlin crew have original animations on Nintendo Today. So I think it's safe to say that King K. Rool is DK's main villain again, which is really nice. But even though King K. Rool is back, they're not neglecting DK's other villains either. Bonanza was proof that new villains can exist alongside K. Rool, since Void Kong was handled very well. And he got some acknowledgement outside of the main campaign too, since the Emerald Rush DLC is themed around him, and he also has an animation on Nintendo Today. I could definitely see Void Kong becoming DK's equivalent to Wario, being much more of a rival than a full-on villain like K. Rool, because he doesn't seem like much of a threat after the events of Bonanza. We're also seeing villains be acknowledged through Bonanza's event statues, like Ninja Kong and Ghastly King from Jungle Beat. Since they have new models, so I think it's possible that we could see these characters return for future games, or at the very least in a spin-off. Even Retro Studios villains, Tiki Tong and Lord Frederick, are being acknowledged through the Nintendo Today theme. Though, I'm kind of glad that Tiki Tong isn't being touted as DK's main villain at least, like how he's being portrayed in Super Nintendo World. So I think even Nintendo realized that idea was stupid. It really seems like Nintendo wants to create a proper rogues gallery for the Donkey Kong franchise, which is really nice to see. This is something that I have been wanting to see from the Mario franchise for a long time, so I'm glad that we're at least seeing it within a different part of the same universe. It kind of reminds me of how the Kirby franchise handles its villains, since many of them return in later games, either as bosses or playable characters. I know the Kirby franchise does tend to redeem a lot of its villains, but I don't necessarily think a villain has to be redeemed in order to return in something like a spin-off game. And also, I feel like the way they're handling Donkey Kong's villains is the best of both worlds. K. Rool can be in the spotlight again, and the rest of DK's history is also still being acknowledged, and there's also room for new villains as well if Void Kong is any indication. And this also makes me feel like Nintendo wants Donkey Kong to be a huge, interconnected franchise. It seemed like for a while, DK was sidelined and neglected, or just simply treated as a spin-off to Mario, but now, bringing back these past villains, or even other characters, from all of the eras of the franchise, makes me feel like they want to do a lot more with DK now. The 5 to 7-ish characters they usually utilized in DK promotional material really isn't enough to push DK as a major Nintendo franchise, so it makes sense why they're going all out and bringing back so many characters. And it's nice to see that they're pulling from the past rather than completely rebooting everything, and they're not completely relying on the past either. I feel like it's the perfect middle ground here. And it also makes me wonder if we'll get a DK spin-off sometime in the near future. Maybe a sequel to Diddy Kong Racing? Well, of course it would have to be a lot different since Rare probably wouldn't be involved. Or something entirely new. I think there's a lot of interesting ideas for Donkey Kong spin-offs. I mean, we have gotten so many over the years of varying qualities. I would personally love to see something like a Donkey Kong RPG, either developed by Intelligent Systems or Acquire, Or even maybe in the style of Paper Mario, I think that would be really cool. Or even a spin-off where you play as King K. Rool. I just think there are so many interesting ideas. So I really hope they expand the franchise in that way during the Switch 2 era. But I think acknowledging most of the past villains and other characters is a good start, and I really like what they're doing so far. But anyways, let me know what you think down in the comments, and thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more, and make sure to check out my Discord server and Blue Sky if you want to. Stay perky!